Welcome to this week's episode of Leadership Sound Bites. I can speak. I know I can. I just can't run through the words. They come out like that. With Michelle and my special guest, Ryan Clark. And I love the tagline description header thing on Ryan's LinkedIn because that's how I'm going to introduce him as a charismatic marketing specialist. Ryan and I met a couple years ago, and sir, it was right before you moved to Brazil, which is where you currently live. We had a conversation. I was super intrigued about the move that you were making. I know you had family there. And the conversation we had around social media and your particular style around marketing. So this topic that we're going to talk about is just around social media connections. And it's more than just the collection of names, but it's about really maximizing what we do in this space. So I know you've got a quote I want you to kick it off with, and then we'll come into the conversation a little bit more. So welcome, Ryan.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Michelle, very much. Yeah. I love everything that you just said about this introduction, not just a collection of names. And that's the thing, we all kind of links with this quote, and my philosophy of marketing and social media is like, it's kind of the big lie that there's all this opportunity of all these things everywhere and it's all at our fingertips and we can search anyone on LinkedIn and find them exactly and make business. And when it comes down to it, it's all about relationships with people, and you have to cultivate it, and it takes work. There's no quick fix, no silver bullet, nothing, just because of its social media. It's just another medium. And, it took me in my own life, in my own business, to travel far and wide and go reach out and reach out and reach out in order to really discover how to build those relationships. And that's linked to this quote that I pulled here today. It's from a guy, Anthony Bourdain. So he used to have this show on the Travel Channel and Discovery Channel and such about, and we'd go to different countries and be immersed with different cultures and people, but in the small town sense, eating local food and having conversations, but then telling the stories about these people too. And so I really like that because it it shows just a little insight into me, maybe. So I'm just going to read this quote. Let's just see this. So he said, if I'm an advocate for anything, it's to move as far as you can, as much as you can, across the ocean or simply across the river. Walk in someone else's shoes, or at least eat their food. It's a plus for everybody. And to me, this is the key to marketing in life, is being able to understand other people, be a great listener, be able to feed back what they're saying, be sympathetic, being non-judgmental, and being able to have the courage to be open and to travel. And that is going to give you the stories and the mindset that you need to create truly great marketing, not just short-lived, surface level clickbait stuff, but something where you can build a personal brand that lasts a lifetime, where you build a legacy, where you're building the really big businesses, because they all have stories, they have depth. So
I love that because when you and I talked, it really was about making those connections. And when I think about different things when you were talking, it's about and I share with you offline, I'll share it, is that I've got a lot of connections. I've got history of people that I've worked with, but what happens is our sphere, our people that we tend to think of all the time are the ones that we are currently interacting with. So you may have all these connections, all these 5,000 people or whatever it may be, but who has visibility to you? Who do you come to mind to, right? And so for me, it was like someone I used to work with that we had a relationship, a lot of mutual respect. And I would not have come to mind for her had she not seen a podcast. Just so happened to be somebody else that, I came up in the feed and she's like, oh my God, I forgot. And are you interested in XYZ? So those kind of things, when I think about it, is that I have other people that it doesn't have to be so happen chance. It doesn't have to be so chance like that. Literally, we're connected all the time through messaging and through all that stuff, because what I'm saying or the conversations that were happening, they relate to them. And so they intentionally they're intentional about making sure I'm part of what they're seeing all the time. And I think that's the difference. Are we going to leave it to chance, right? Or are we going to do what you're talking about and go, you know what? I need to be more intentional so that I'm connecting with people that resonate with what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, because how many people do you really need to have
Hmm.
the kind of life that you want, to get the places that you want to go? Like, this is something I've been thinking about a lot. Especially in these last 2 years, since we've connected, Michelle. It's like
Hmm.
I think about, business is so hard. Being in a business and growing it, like takes so much work, and it like goes most of the time it goes pretty slow. And it's like you think, how do I get to this next level? And I think about that, and it's like, it seems like the people that are at the top or have a lot or have done a lot, so much seems to be about you knew somebody that gave you a connection. You had
Hmm.
some connection and then opened up all of these doors. You had one video and it blew up and it went viral. So I'm trying to think about what is that leap going to be? And I just can't help but think, I think it's just one or two relationships, three or four or five, whatever, just key relationships that I have
Hmm.
with. It's not having a million followers. It's not having 1,000 likes on every post. It's none of that. It's just, I just want to put myself out there in a way that I'm connecting to a few key people
Hmm.
that, like me, that have the resources or the connections that can open
Hmm.
doors. That's all I need, you know?
But you say that, and I'm going to go, and I'm bobbleheading because I do agree with you. And I think more and more I start to realize that when you're talking about it, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, it was that person that connected to that. I mean, literally, it was not 15 people came up and said, "Oh my gosh, will you do this thing?" It was the one it is your network and your connections. And it's not just about being in business, being self-employed, your side hustle, whatever it is. It's about your day job too.
Mm.
So, you'll have people that will reach out and they go, "We have this opening and I know you to be XYZ." I was talking to a person I used to work with before, and this was, I think we met in 2009, right? He was in auditing. I'm going to have him on the podcast, and we were talking about that kind of thing. And he wanted to bust into a different avenue than what he was doing. No one would give him a chance because he didn't have the experience to do this thing that he wanted to bust into until someone that knew him well, networked with, right, gave him the opportunity and knew that he had the potential, that if he believed in himself, then he was going to believe in him too. And I think that's the other opportunity in this networking. And I'm going to pull in a quote that I found because it's around personal brand. So your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. We've all heard that before. Today, that room is online and the conversation is happening on social media. So I think that's the other part of it too, is how are we going to use this platform to engage with people that otherwise we may have had a conversation in the hallway, or they may have stopped by our office, but all of a sudden now we're no longer in brick and mortar, we're remote working. And so this is a platform that we can use to create or at least not lose those connections as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
No question
Huge,
there.
huge. Yeah. Huge. It's like, I mean, and if it is something where you're moving, you're looking for a new opportunity, or some kind of opportunity is going to come to you, there's only one place to look. They can't find anything. The only people that they are going to connect to or reach out to is going to be that person that has a kind of personal brand and a kind of presence, who's articulating their thoughts and just putting themselves out there in some way. That's going to be the one that gets the opportunity.
Hmm.
But so there's this great example. This guy, his name is Ansel Lee, and he's been one of my clients for a few years now. And so he's in med tech sales. He's been doing this for like
Okay.
30 years in this kind of realm. And he does that, but he has this amazing LinkedIn presence where, he wrote a post about like 2 years ago about his adopted daughter and this
Hmm.
story about how she came into their life, into the family. And this post went massively viral and got, I don't know, like a million views or something like that, and like tens of
Yeah.
thousands of comments, and went huge. And it's like he didn't necessarily that isn't necessarily like selling his services. Like of course, gets clients from LinkedIn, but that wasn't really the big thing.
Right.
But he tells stories every day. He tells like things that's on his mind, and he talks about leadership and about business and such. And he's written a couple books about his philosophy of putting
Mm.
others first and taking and starting small, and and So he's got that, but and that's like a part of him and his brand. He also started this group called the Bridge Program. That was, he saw all these people that are in his space, in the, you know, medical device sales space, that don't have jobs right now. They aren't working. They're in
Mm.
transition. So he just started a group where he got 20 people in there, where he's basically giving them a job to represent his brand, to go out and like represent his clients, so that they have something that can be on their resume, so that they can find their next opportunity.
Oh, I
So
love
this
it.
guy, it's just like he's using his personal brand to write books, to create groups that are helping people, to inspire others with his content. He'll have people, he lives in a Conway, Arkansas, and he'll get
Yeah.
people to just like come up to him in conferences and say like, "Hey, Ansel, like I know you." It's like, "You know me?" Like, "What do you mean you know me?" It's like, "I've seen you, man. Like I read your stuff every day." Again, he's not like out here selling stuff. He doesn't have some like big business, but that's the power that he's been able to have. And that's the big scale. On a small scale, it just takes a little bit to be that kind of person that can be the go-to person, or be the person that gets that opportunity in whatever it is you're doing.
Well, and I love it. And the thing that I heard in that too, Ryan, is that you're making a difference in people's lives. And he's doing it to where there's certain lives that he's touching that he's acutely aware of, right? The people that, you know, hey, I'm going to give you this transition job, this gap job, so that you've got something on your resume, so that, you know, you're stepping into the next thing. And then he's got other people who are coming up to him that literally, if I'm following your stuff every day, it's because what you're saying is making a difference in my life, right? So I posted, there was a quote that I posted because it resonated with me. It was John Maxwell, I think, and it was literally yesterday ended last night. And put your focus on today. That's the thing that matters, right? And I had someone reach out and she said, I needed to hear that in that moment. So it was something that hit me. It was something I share with others because it impacted me. And you don't know how many people go, God, I needed to hear that right now. And that's
Yeah.
the cool stuff too. And it sounds like Ansel is doing that pretty consistently. And it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it does. And I mean, it just feels so good, right? To create too.
Hmm.
I mean, I think there's a big fear over, well, why, maybe like, why bother? Why do this? You know, if nobody, is anybody really paying attention? Does anyone really care? You know, why put in this effort? And I mean, on some level, I think you do need to have a kind of mission and goal behind this. You know, what is it? Who are you trying to affect, and how are you trying to affect them? You know, what is your mission behind this posting and
Hmm.
content? 'Cause when you have that, then it becomes so fun. It becomes a part of your life and your mission. It's not just, oh, I just need to do this so I can build some network that's hopefully going to give me something someday. No, it's like you got
Hmm.
to create it that fills your soul, you know, and nourishes you, and you see that it's affecting others. And I mean, my whole mission in life is to spread good ideas. You know, that's why I became a
Hmm.
marketer in business. That's why I had a video production company, and why I'm helping people with their marketing now is all tied into this mission of spreading good ideas. You know, that's how we
Hmm.
can do social media and the internet. So that's what I would encourage anyone to, is like thinking about content and this presence is, you know, think about, you know, how can you bring this into your big
Hmm.
why of helping others or bringing yourself to this place you want to go in life? How can you integrate your expression through content, through video, through inspiring others, and put
Hmm.
that into it? Because it's so important. There's so much negativity out there in the media,
I
and
know.
like, it's us, like we can outshine that negativity and bring better things to this world through our voice, but it happens at the individual level.
Well, and it doesn't have to be like perfect or really curated, scripted, whatever it is. It literally can be a thought. It's like that, you know, and I don't, aside from shorts that I'm doing now, there's not this intentional, you know, oh, this post, you know, and on this whatever cadence. But when I come across things that stop me in my tracks and have an impact on me, it's like I want to share it with others, right? And to your point, is it aligned with what we're trying to do? Are we trying to make a difference? Are we trying to, you know, put a light in someone's day that, to your point, things aren't going so great, or there's all this negativity? But it's like, what motivates you to keep going on? Now, I wonder for you from the marketing thing, if you could tell someone, if you do nothing else, this is where, let me say it differently. Where do you start? Because I was going to go, if you do nothing else, what's the one thing that you'd recommend people do? But I think what came to mind for me is there's a lot of people that don't even know where to start.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I'd start by noticing and observing and recording. So I think the whole key is having a storyteller's mind. And the storyteller's mind is when you're just going about your day in life and you're seeing and you're noticing things that are happening around you and how you can tie that into some lesson or some point about whatever it is that you're promoting. Whether
Mhm.
if you're a leader, maybe you like to talk about leadership. And so, when those things happen during the day, like yesterday, it was like downpouring rain, like just
Yeah.
downpouring rain. And there was this girl carrying these two big heavy bags of groceries walking up the stairs. And there's people like sprinting up the stairs around her with umbrellas. And she's just like very calmly just like walking up the stairs. Like it might as well have just been sunny. And she's like kind of looking around and holding these bags of groceries. And it just made me, it made me think of just this idea of this calm in the storm.
Mhm.
There must be something going on differently in her mind where it doesn't really matter about the external chaos of the world, but you can be in any of those kinds of situations and still be calm and enjoying life. And that's how the best leaders are. So how
Mhm.
can you do that in your life? So this was just some random thing I saw, but my mind makes these kinds of connections, and then I can share these observations through content, and I can
Mhm.
inspire people to think about things like that and think differently. So that's for anyone. You have your phone. When you see
Yeah.
something like that's a story, just jot it down. Just jot down a sentence, two sentences, and then write about what you think about that, what it made you feel.
Yeah.
don't don't start going, oh, let me go search Google for what are the top 3 ways to be a better listener and post that and all that content. That's been done, and it's not original. People, we need to hear from other people and hear your thoughts and your
Yeah.
ideas. That's the easiest way to start, and that's the most complicated and advanced too. Like, but I
I
think that's
love
what it's.
it. I literally love the whole idea because when you started talking about the calm and the storm, because originally I went in a different place as people are running around her, I'm like, why aren't they helping her?
Yeah.
But your take on what you were describing was here she is. She's not rattled by any of this stuff. Other people are, freaked out, running upstairs, whatever it may be, and she's just trucking along like it was a normal sunny day.
And how
Um,
cool how you had that different interpretation, how
yes,
you were able to, and that's how it's original. That's why we can be original, and you can never run out of content or things to talk about ever, because your
yeah.
perspective is different. You can make a story out of anything, and it just takes a little practice, but it's
Oh,
endless.
but what I loved about it is it wasn't, you made up a story because the story was around your observation around what you saw and you shared it with other people. And so that's what I loved about that particular thing is, to your point, what do you see? How do you feel about it? Because I'm a huge proponent for recognizing that we all have different perspectives. All of us do. We can be looking at the same thing, the example that you just gave, and we walk away with a completely different interpretation about what it is. And it's important to be able to share those so that you can go, you saw that. I didn't see that. I saw this. And then somewhere in the mix of that is the better version of whatever.
Mhm.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that is the thing with life too. There's like a lot of, we kind of see these opinions and what maybe the mass opinion is of something, and we take it as truth, but it's not the truth. That's why we have to be careful with what we're
Mhm.
consuming and who we're paying attention to, and the stories that are being characterized as truth or
Mhm.
normal. when it comes to not just like world events happening, but just the way that we're supposed to think about ourselves, the way we're supposed to think about each other. Like these ideas were given to us.
Mhm,
And that's why we have to, yeah, have this mind of we're interpreting things on our own and expressing the way
mhm,
that we feel about that, because that can create a catalyst for change, for something that can be
mhm,
more right, more peaceful, or and that's why travel is so important. I think like you're going around. I mean, it's one thing to watch a video, but you actually go to another country and you actually stand in a different culture and experience people and the energy. It's a totally different. There's no comparison to actually being somewhere different and
mhm,
living there, and it really makes you question and think differently about everything that you've ever learned about life.
mhm,
And it makes you more open, more accepting, more loving, makes you a
mhm,
better business person, a better friend, a better everything, really, because it's just you're open now to difference and
mhm,
judging less and accepting
mhm,
more.
mhm.
Very powerful.
And I think it's good for us as humans to put ourselves in situations that we're not comfortable, because
Yes.
I think that's where the whole judgment less comes in. And we don't have to travel out of the freaking country, even though I
Yeah.
love travel, to experience that difference. Because you have some people go, I don't want to go out of the country. I don't have my passport. You can literally travel in the United States and experience what you just described. Okay. I mean, it's so different if you go state to state of how people engage with each other. And yeah, I think it's huge. Diversity is powerful. So it can get us off our high horse and our pedestal pretty damn quick. And it's important that that happens. Yeah. So thank you for this time. What are one or two things aside from, and maybe one of the things that we've talked about already or something that we haven't that you want people to walk away with?
Hmm. Um, hmm. Well, hmm. Maybe, I mean, I think on the one hand, there's the personal side of this, how we're looking at other people is massively gonna change our ability to like get opportunity from others. And I've even been thinking about this whole time we've been talking, like I don't know if there is a better way to, explain how you're supposed to treat other people besides, this idea of listening and non-judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Really, I've just found that the way that I've gotten the most opportunity from people, where I've been offered to be in like higher circle places, where I go
Mm-hmm.
into like where I play beach tennis here is is founded by the guy. He was the one of the first beach tennis players in Brazil.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, so like there's this whole big, club here called Clube de Flamengo, and beach tennis is a part of it. So he's like the head of this. And anyway, and I'm like, a foreigner coming into this place. There's no other real gringos there. But, because as an example, because I'm someone who is a good listener and positive and participating and not afraid to speak Portuguese, not afraid to interact, not afraid
Mm-hmm.
to act like myself as being different. I've been into this place to be friends with these people. And I just noticed that, I can go into places and connect with people that are giving me opportunity because I really enjoy listening to others, hearing what they
Mm-hmm.
have to say. And I know this isn't very, very practical, but it's maybe like if there's one thing to think about, how can you, yeah, how can you accept other people more? And I think it is about going into different places, not being able to be afraid to experience other things.
Mm-hmm.
Is there maybe a particular audience, Michelle, like a particular like type of person that I could like speak more as to, as a takeaway,
It just depends. And so for you, it's like, oh, I've got to give you the one
This is
thing.
like
So
my big
yeah, you're
thing,
like,
my big
boom,
idea.
you just
Like
blew it up.
I don't know
So,
how to,
so here's the
yeah.
thing. I totally agree with what you just said, and I'll pull it back into Because everything that you just said is stepping outside of your comfort zone, not being afraid to not be in the majority, right? But
Yes.
being in a position to where you open yourself up to accept someone else's culture, accept someone else's way of doing things, and actually participate, right,
Yes.
in what that is. So you're not just on the sidelines watching it take place. And it's a
Participate.
huge sign of respect to people when you actually embrace whatever they're doing and say, "Yeah, I'll try this. Let's go. I've never done it before, but yeah."
That is it,
That's
Michelle. That's really
that's
it.
that's acceptance. That's diversity. That's inclusion, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
I
Yeah, participating. That's it. I think you know.
yes. So that's what I heard, and it's powerful stuff. You've done it in a way that you're in another country doing it. But the reality of it is we can all do it with every human that we come in contact with, to where we don't sit lofty and judge what it is we believe we're seeing, because clearly it's open to interpretation. But we actually get ourselves down at whatever level, that the stuff is happening, and go, "Hey, let me experience what you're experiencing. I've never done this before." And when you talk about people in an org structure, it's sometimes it's harder for that leader, that the higher up they go in the org, to be vulnerable enough to experience something that may make them feel a little uncomfortable. But it's a huge sign of respect to the other people that it is their comfort zone.
Amazing. That was so it. It's like it's so about being on the level of others, not acting like you're below or not
Mm,
acting like you're above. It's like really, yeah, being willing to participate. People appreciate that so much. Like
mhm,
it's very difficult to go and speak a different language when you don't know the language. It's
mhm,
difficult, embarrassing, and it's frustrating, and you think you do
mhm,
it wrong, and you think people are judging you, but everyone loves, like people love that so much in Brazil when
mhm,
I go to speak Portuguese and and eat the food and participate and interact. It's such a welcoming thing, but
mhm,
it's so difficult to it's so difficult to do something new and to
mhm.
suck at something. I love
Yeah,
this I love this idea of that, hey, when you're doing something new, you will suck, and you just
yeah,
have to know that it's okay, that will be that way, and that's normal, and that, yeah, it's not going to feel that good maybe, and you're going to feel the embarrassment, but that is totally normal. That's supposed to happen, so it's okay, just do it. So it's
yeah,
like just comfortable sucking at stuff and be
yeah,
okay with it, and then you'll open all these different doors, different countries, different relationships, different
yeah,
sports, storytelling, content. Just like know that at the beginning you're going to be bad, but know that with certainty you will get better and improve, and
mhm,
you will love it more and more and more. And you can
yeah,
love it, and in that way, you can love it from day one. When you
yeah,
accept the suck, you love it from
yeah.
day one, and then you just get better and better. It's a beautiful thing.
Step in and do something that you will suck at.
Yes.
I love time in the room with you, so thank you. You you prompt me to be a better person, to think more deeply about stuff, Ryan, and I appreciate that.
Mhm.
This has been Leadership Soundbites. Until next time, Ryan, you're welcome anytime. I love chatting with you. Please like, share, subscribe, and have an awesome day. Thank you.